Alrighty, I see I'm on live right now, so I'm going to connect a person to me live in just a second. I'm glad to be here. Today is October the 26th. This is Thursday. This will be, I believe, podcast number 140. Oh, it's a lot of them. Yeah, I think this is podcast number 140, 140. So I'm on here live right now. And give me just a sec. I want to um, just make sure everything is running cool. If you can hear me, give a thumbs up. Give me give me a thumbs up. Today is Thursday, October the 26th, and I'm really enjoying this. It's uh, it's an amazing ride. When you ask for certain things to take place, it's an amazing ride. So hold on just a second. I'm gonna see if I can tag my niece in Arizona to watch, and I think yeah. So maybe I'll send her the link. Maybe that will be better. Yeah. Hey, Linda. Good afternoon. So this is going to be a very short, maybe short, podcast today. The title is "Live Your Life on Demand." So if you can live your life on demand, why would you do that? Because you are the living key to unlock the mysteries in your own life. So we have a lot of mysteries. Mysteries are things that we haven't yet explored, things that we have explored, but we haven't taken the deeper dive. And so what's going on right now is that there are a lot of shifts and changes. People that were once riding on the side rails of your fire truck, people that were once on the hay wagon with you, have now placed themselves into position to fall off, and some have fallen off. So, before I get a little deeper into this, many of you know I'm Brother Francis. I'm the founder and host of this podcast, Clear Blue Radiance. I've been doing spiritual counseling for about 40 plus years, and I enjoy helping people such as yourself gain greater clarity and also discover what your purpose is. And if you already know what it is, to redefine it. Because as we evolve, the purpose that we have evolves, it doesn't stay the same, it changes as we change. So, getting back to this particular topic, what does the term on demand means? For many of us that have cable TV, you have things on there that say on demand. That means you can get it right now. You don't have to wait till later. That means you're activating something right now. You're placing it into motion. You're either reviewing or replaying, and you're living it now. Our life is like that. As we go through life, we don't have much time to replay something. We don't have much time to recall something. We can recall it, but can we recall it exactly the way that we had experienced it? And can we carry it out in the same exact way that we did it before? Most of the times, it's slightly off. You are the only one who has the key, because you are the key. And when I said living key, that means you're alive right now. You can activate, you can deactivate, you can do whatever you want to do. What we're going to find is that many people who we thought were riding with us, they're not in the back seat. They've fallen off. They're not riding on the back of the horse with you or the back of the motorcycle with you. They have fallen off. And they're supposed to. Some fall off with anger. Some fall off with true support and excitement. They know, hey, they need to get off of your particular train in order for your train to go faster, which means they can only go up to a certain point. And that's the way it's supposed to be. You're only supposed to ride in their life up to a certain point. What is important is that you somehow support each other, be the cheerleader for each other, and send them off with their best wishes if you can. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's not meant to send them off with the best wishes. Sometimes it's just best to let go. We hear that phrase, let go and let God. Or we hear that phrase that says, Jesus takes the wheel. No, Jesus is not taking your wheel. He's got his own wheel. He's too busy teaching his disciples in the three different levels: beginners, intermediate, and advanced. So you're the only one who has the key to unlock the mysteries. These are the questions that you carry, the thoughts that you have thought about, the visions that you have, the dreams. You're the only one that can go into the heart and into the mind and pull it forward. You're your own farmer, you're your own miner. You're finding the precious parts of yourself. You are the artist, you are the designer, the dancer, the choreographer, the conductor. You are the composer, you are the arranger. So you're striving to put things in order. You're striving to put things in order to correct the map or redraw the map, as we say. And what are the maps? The maps are the different levels of consciousness, the different levels of understanding that you already have. You see, we have been working along this path for quite some time. We are the ones who have been picking ourselves up, studying ourselves, studying our path. You know, you're like a captain on a ship or the general. You've got your map in front of you. You're trying to align your map with the coordinates that you're traveling in. And you're hoping on some level that you are matching it correctly in your mind and on paper. You're supposed to be able to chart it. That's why they have something called a charted flight or a charted cruise or a charted this or that. Why? Because it's already supposed to be pre-mapped out. So all you got to do is just follow along the way. And you're supposed to be able to see certain landmarks and things. You also have to become the beacon light for yourself. You have to shine bright enough so someone can see you, even in the dark, even in the darkness, which is more confusion. From confusion or chaos is light. From the womb, there's light. It has been there all the time. So life is all about making changes. We are constantly making changes, taking certain choices, not following through on certain choices, looking at what we have and say, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. This is not the proper mix of things that I would like to work with. But eventually you find a way. What is important about making changes for yourself? First of all, you take charge, you take control, and you're living your own life in the way that you decide to do that. You are not letting the majority of people who have no idea of who you are and what you're here to do begin to dictate how you are to be alive in your own life. I experienced that last month. Someone getting upset because I'm not doing what they want me to do. Well, I'm not here to jump through someone else's hoops. I've jumped through enough flaming hoops as it is, and I've got the burn marks to prove it. I don't need to jump through someone else's hoop because I'm creating my own hurdles. And I've learned in these past 30 years to let go of some hurdles. I'm not a ninja on a course trying to prove anything to anybody else. All I'm striving to do is leave a legacy for the younger members of my family, be all my nieces and nephews, their husbands, their mates, their siblings, their children, their nieces and nephews, their grandchildren, their great grandchildren. That's all I'm here to do. I planted enough seeds and I'm still planting more seeds. I was just sharing with Linda earlier over the phone that, Spirit, my mother came to me and said, "Hey, you got more books to write. You're not done yet." So many of you know I'm working on a meditation book. But when that book is done, I have a book that will be considered the compilation of the wisdom, the jewels, the gems that you receive on this podcast. I'll be putting a book out on that. So, one of the things we want to get straight is that it no longer matters. I'll say this, it no longer matters what others say or think about your life. It no longer matters what other people think or say or know about your life because your life belongs to you. It doesn't belong to them. Your life is your life. And in your life, there's plenty of light for you to shine because you are choosing to change as change heals your life. So we're not supposed to be doing the same thing over and over and over again. We do certain things on the level of repetition, like an athlete, like a musician. Musicians or athletes are doing what? Or martial artists. They're training the body and the mind. They always say muscle memory. So the muscle is triggered a certain way to contain certain information so it has a certain response under certain conditions. When that happens, then one begins to radiate. One is able to take the essence like in the martial arts. I'll explain it like this. In Tai Chi, they have Chi, which is the good intrinsic energy that's natural, that's flowing in the universe and in yourself. Then there's Sha, SHA, and Sha is the bad energy, the energy that you can't do anything with. Then there's Jing, Jing, and that's the power of the chi that you can issue. You can throw that energy out. You can get so good with it that you don't need to touch somebody else with your energy. In other words, you don't need to lay your hand on the body. You're supposed to be able to project that energy. And when you solidly project that energy, clearly project it, it makes an impact, it makes an impression, it makes a dent. Because it's doing exactly what the mind led it to do. So, one of the things along the way is you don't spend time, too much time, listening to or watching news. Because one thing we know for sure, news is delayed. Have you ever watched a sporting event on TV and go to listen to it on the radio, or go to listen to it on YouTube? There's anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes of delayed time from the time you originally heard a sound on the radio to the sound of the same program on YouTube to the sound of the same program on the news. Everything has a slight delayed reaction. Why is that? Has nothing to do with time zone. What it has a lot to do with is people can manipulate the time it takes for you to receive energy. That means it's, we experience it with our cell phone. How many times have you had your cell phone right in front of you? Just a minute ago, one of my younger nieces from Arizona, from Gilbert, called me. The phone wasn't even on silence. I didn't have it on silence. And I had the phone right next to me, right next to my, on my left side. You know, this is in reverse. So on the left side, which is here, where you have the sign of my Circle Grace One, right here on my computer table. I never heard the phone ring. I'm right here, volume on, volume up, yet I didn't hear it ring. Yet she could leave me a message. Yet something else is controlling that, so I don't get the message. I don't know she's ringing. The only way I can find out, good afternoon, Samara. Only way I can find out is do this. Engage my mind, engage the energy field that I carry that computers are running off of. Once I tune into that network of energy that I personally have, then I can determine, okay, one of my nieces and nephews are trying to contact me. Then I'll go to the phone and check, and there it is. So we want to kind of get away from listening to the news. Why? Because you will get the news if you listen to your energy. What are you picking up from the north, east, west, and south? That's what the word news means. What are you creating for yourself that allows you to see the energy as it appears in the north, east, west, and south in your life? We have to be able to do that. And here's another thing, rhetoric. Now, rhetoric is designed to persuade you to listen to something or to watch something. But you don't have to listen or watch something that is trying to control, is used to control or invade or redirect you from the source of who you are. That's what most rhetoric speeches do, rhetorical talks. They're designed to persuade you from your way of thinking and doing something to the speaker's way of doing something. And what the speaker will do, most of them, what they will do is they'll send you a harsh message, a message that's designed to frighten you, that's designed to control the way you would normally would like to respond into a response that deals with fear. That's what most of the rhetorical stuff does. Yes, Linda. There's sometimes, and these are examples because we know we don't control the phone. You get a cell phone, right? It's supposed to be vibing off a certain cell phone tower within a mile or two of where you live. Most of them towers are placed around food places. Why? Or most food places are built where towers are at. Why? So they can have access for their clients to Wi Fi, but it has access to your phone. It can shut your phone off, it can shut your phone on. How many times have we gotten Amber Alerts? Your phone is off, but you still got the Amber Alert. So that's proof we don't control our phone. Someone else is controlling, someone else is manipulating. So if a phone can be manipulated, we too can be manipulated. We have to get past certain things. This is why meditation is important. This is why we got to learn how to meditate. Go back to a way where we learn how to meditate for ourselves. Because when you are meditating on a regular basis for yourself, you are blocking, you are deflecting, you are turning back energy that no longer belongs to you. And you're only inviting energy that's positive. You're controlling your right brain, which is intuitive level, as well as your left brain, which is analytical. But you got to control this and that. How many people remember? I always like to use this example. I didn't put it in my notes, but it comes to mind now. How many people remember when 9/11 was all over the place? When that energy really hit? Do you remember the energy after it? After all that stuff in the air was cleared to some extent, all the destruction. Do you remember going across bridges? I remember having one of my male spiritual students drive me because he had the free time to drive me from Long Island, Nassau County. He lived in Queens. Come to Long Island, pick me up, and drive me on a Friday to New Jersey. And we had to go across the George Washington Bridge. One of the things that we saw on a lot of the bridges before we got to the George Washington Bridge was the military soldiers, but we saw the signs. There were certain placard signs that they had right at the toll booth, coming back or going through. And this toll booth, these placards that were set up vertically, had chakra colors on them. And they said, okay, orange and red, or orange is a caution, yellow is a caution, red is emergency, green neutral, blue neutral. But here was the kicker. They had all of the chakras. They had the solar plexus, which was yellow. They had the throat, which was a light blue, sky blue, a blue color, lighter than royal blue. They had an indigo blue. They had the violet, purple color there. They had the green there. They had the orange there, and they had red. So they had root chakra, sacral chakra, which is the area beneath the navel, called lunar plexus. They had the solar plexus. They had the heart chakra color, that's green. They had the sky blue, which was throat. They had the indigo color. They had all the colors there that went up even to the crown. Only color they didn't have there was like a magenta range. And the magenta range was for the base of your skull. That was never presented. Why? Because they were letting you know in a very subconscious, subliminal way that they are controlling that part of the brain. They weren't about to tell anybody that we're manipulating you from the base of your skull. You saw stuff like that in movies. If it wasn't in um, Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie that deal with Total Recall, it was definitely in the Matrix movies where they had the person laying down in the chair like a barber's chair, and they had electrodes plugged in around the eyes and on the face. But the major thing, they had something plugged into the base of their skull. They were feeding them the experience of the dream of what the reality was supposed to be like and how they could change and they could monitor the person. They even told you the person could die in the chair. So I say all of this because we must learn how to meditate. That is the purpose of today's talk. Live your life on demand. How can you live it on demand if you can't meditate? Because you're the living key to unlock the mysteries in your life. You're the one that has to make the change. You're the one that has to jump over the hoops or hurdles. You're the one that has to unlock new doors. You're the one that has to look at the treasures in the chest. And you're the one that has to determine what are the treasures. Can you identify them clearly? Do you know how to use them? That's the thing that we've got to be able to do. You can find the treasures, but do you know how to use the treasure that you found? Most of the time, we're not trained to recognize anything of value to ourselves. And this has been going on since time eternal, since education was supposed to be in order. Nobody was teaching anybody how to ask a question. Nobody was teaching anybody how to go around the question to see the real answer. We're not being shown that or taught that because if you were shown that or taught that, you would not be able to be controlled. So I want to let you know today, if you meditate more, you'll be freer in the mind. If you meditate more, you won't be living life by default or living life according to what the majority wants you to do. You will live life on your own terms in the way that you're supposed to. You'll live life according to how you're supposed to make changes, and you'll be able to handle changes better. You won't need anybody to give you some rhetorical speech that's designed to persuade you from your true self. Because the bottom line is this: Reverend Ike used to teach it in so many terms. Reverend Ike used to say, "You can't lose with the stuff I use." He said, let the feeling get the blessing. What he's talking about is when you're thinking deeply about something that you want to accomplish, you got to tie your emotions to it. And the thought that has the weightiest emotion connected is the one that's going to materialize. He learned, I forget which chapter it is from the biblical side. He said, "So shall a man thinketh, so shall he be." So if you're thinking something all the time that's weighted down by the right weight of emotions, then what you're thinking about with that emotional energy is going to materialize into your life. It's going to show up. This is why you're supposed to change. When you feel the desire to change deep on the inside, change. When you don't feel like making any changes, don't make any changes. But do not let someone from the outside tell you to change. Why? Because they're trying to get you to change or not change so you're in line with their drama. See, once you free yourself, you're free, never to return. That's another thing. Once you're out of the box, don't go back. Once you jumped out the sand pit, don't go back. Going backwards does nothing more than defeat your true purpose. Going backwards defeats your true purpose. So you, like I said last week, you cannot live your life by default. Default is letting someone else dictate your life. How many times you get your cell phone. If it gets to be too much of a problem, there's a reset button in there. Same thing with your laptop. If it's having too many problems of crashing and clashing or whatever it may be doing, you don't have to you don't have to erase anything. All you have to do is take it back to default factory settings, the original factory settings. Then it'll show up. It'll do what it's supposed to do. So that is my thought for today. Live your life on demand. In other words, live it in the way that you want to, because you're the living key. You're the only person who can unlock your own mind and your own heart. You're it. You're the only key that you will ever need. All the other things are extraneous extras, but you don't even need them. We don't need 1,000 books. I got over what, 400 books in my place. I don't even need all those books. Why? Because they're all saying the same thing, but just in a completely different way. Even books that I'm writing are saying things in completely different ways, but it's tying everything together. So today is Thursday, October the 26th. Whoever's having a birthday today, have a splendid birthday. Really enjoy yourself. 2 plus 6 is 8. Opportunities for money, opportunities to overcome debts and things that are just weighing you down. Until next time, next week, it should be November the 2nd. Ooh, that's my brother's birthday. Got to wish him a birthday on his birthday. I have a friend that's on that day. I have someone who's after that birthday. After the 2nd, there's the 9th. I got to wish that person happy birthday too. Can't forget anything. So, everybody have a great day. Enjoy yourself. Get the rest that you need. Go for a walk. Get some fresh air. Sit outside. Get the fresh air. Communicate with nature. Let nature talk to you. Communicate with the cells in your body. Listen to the cellular memory inside of you. And when you do these things, then you will truly discover your true divinity. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. My grace is your grace, all of my ancestors and higher self, to your ancestors and to your higher self. See you here next Thursday, November the 2nd at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 3 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 2 p.m. Central, which is 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. Take care, everybody. Be well.